Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, minutes before the show.
I'm having second thoughts about whether to do this story at all.
Two right-fighting parents
I want to go talk to them backstage.
receive an ultimatum,
I want you two to sit down and decide what you're going to do different.
while Dr. Phil talks to their kids.
My dad missed my wedding. My mom has her part in this as well.
What was happening backstage?
I sent them back to work on reunification. This is how they spent that time. You were fighting over where you live,
Why should I work with you?
the children's pickup times.
Brian, don't
I don't
do
care.
that.
Tell me how that leads to unifying this family. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Okay, I ask you guys to pop in for a second because I'm having really second thoughts about whether to do this story at all. And I hate to disappoint the audience, but the fact of the matter is, I've said it, I am through sitting in front of a bunch of right fighters.
They've presented.
He has like an 87-page document that he wrote out with his
Hundreds of documents
complaints.
against each other, though. I took almost a week. I've been working on the story for a week and a half, and Ryan, it took a week and a half to sift through all the stuff that he wanted to send me.
Well, this is the reason, you know, I ask you to have them both write the story I'll tell myself if I don't get what I came for. To read his letter, it's victim, 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 her fault, her fault, her fault, didn't get enough time with Dr. Phil, her fault, her fault, her fault, the kids are too alienated, et cetera, et cetera. She didn't even have much to say. I want to go talk to them backstage because I'm going to tell them straight up, don't even come out here. If you're not serious, we have too many people that want to sit down, want to make a change, to waste a slot on somebody that really doesn't want to change, really just here on a PR campaign. I'm going to tell them what I think. I'm going to give them a little time to think about it while I talk to the kids. Okay. And then we're probably going to be done. So everybody's going to get an early lunch today, I guess, because I'm just not, I don't know, maybe I'm getting too old, but I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
But let's talk to them. I meet everybody backstage.
This is Dr. Phil.
Hi,
nice to meet
Libby,
you.
how are you?
Good.
Brian, this is
Hi.
Dr. Phil.
Brian, how are you?
Great. Nice to
Good
meet
to
you.
meet you. Before we start, tell me what you guys have in mind about today, what you think's going to happen today.
I'm certainly hoping there's a little resolution with getting my kids back.
What are you willing to do to make that happen, I guess, is my question.
I feel like I've done everything I know to do to this point, so this is one more avenue that I'm certainly trying to make that happen. I'm willing to do whatever I need to do.
And how about you?
I would like my children to have a relationship with him, and I would like him to stop bullying me over text.
I've been doing this a long time. I'm really good at this. And if you'll listen to what I'm telling you, then I'm about family unification, not fragmentation. I'm not interested in fragmentation. You're doing a good job of that on your own. I'm interested in bringing this back together. You back into the kids' lives, them in. They need their dad.
Sure.
They need you guys to start acting like adults, and you're not doing that. And, you know, I asked you guys to do something for me. I ask you each to write a letter. The story I'll tell myself if I don't get what I came here for. I ask you for, I said, at least a page, no more than two. I didn't even get a page out of you. I got maybe a third of a page. Out of you, I got 2 pages of blaming her, the kids, and me if you don't get what you came here for. And I've been in this a long time, so I know where this is headed if something doesn't change. And before we start, I want you two to just take a minute to go sit down and decide what you're going to do different today. I want you to take a quick look at what you've each said about each other so far, right here, or play it on this man. I don't care which one is first, just play them both right here.
I've lived every day for the last 6 years in hell, having been erased and abandoned by my kids. I've watched Libby teach these kids that I'm abusive, controlling, angry, all kinds of things. But there's no evidence of that. She's called me mean and angry to jerk and an ass in front of the kids because of Libby's poisonous alienation. It's no wonder these kids don't like me.
This is a 5-page summary of all of the evidence that I compiled to the custody evaluator, outlining the pattern of her ignoring my request to be with the kids.
On many occasions, Libby refuses to abide by the visitation orders. Libby's moved their schools and moved their home and won't give me the address for months, but I'm become controlling and abusive and angry if I'm upset by the fact that she's moved them and hasn't told me.
Since our separation, I've had to go to the extremes of calling the police to get my kids when necessary. This is the first of a number of police reports.
There have been a number of times as I've gone to pick up Jessica and Carol that she's had them hiding, or she'll let them know that they're old enough to decide. If they don't want to come, they don't have to come. When I got a restraining order against Libby, she filed a retaliatory restraining order against me, claiming that I was abusing my kids, that they are in fear for their lives. She'll tell you on the surface, oh, I want my kids to have a relationship with their dad, but he's just so mean, he's so controlling and abusive. It's a no-win situation for me. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. Enough is enough.
Okay, then we heard from you. Let's take a look at that.
Since our divorce, Brian has been obsessed with making my life miserable. Brian intimidates me, verbally abuses me, and is bullying me. These are horrible messages that Brian has sent to me in the last 2 weeks. You're a first-class bitch and pull your head out of your ass and learn how to waste of breath. These kids will hate you even more than you deserve everything you get. Trust me, the day is coming. I feel threatened. Brian constantly accuses me of alienating the children. His lack of relationship is his fault. Brian is focused on taking the children from me. These are just a few of the police reports that Brian has filed against me. Brian is always accusing me of abuse and neglect. Brian even called the police to force Jessica to go with him on a weekend visitation. 2 years ago, Brian slapped a restraining order on me that took Jessica away from me, stating that she was in danger in my care. I was flabbergasted. I've never put her in danger. Brian has been abusive. On several occasions, Brian and my son Nate have gotten into fights that have become physical. One time he pinned my oldest daughter, Anna, up against the wall and threw her out the door. The kids are witness the whole thing. I live in fear. I tell my family and friends that if I disappear, look at Brian, because one day he will snap and kill me.
So you're saying, well, what do y'all think about what you're saying about each other?
It's hateful.
It's not accurate. It's simply not accurate. I mean, I'm ashamed of the things that I've said, but I feel like I've been pushed over the cliff a little bit. That's no excuse for that language, but that's just not accurate. There's a number of things on there that are not accurate. I pinned Anna against the wall, and all the kids saw that. Anna was the only one there that night, and I bundled Anna up and deposited her outside of the door.
Okay, now wait,
many...
okay, all right. You just said the magic word twice. You said, yeah, I shouldn't have said that, but, and yeah, this happened, but. But means forget everything I just said, now I'm going to tell you what I really think. Like, that's bad, but really it's not bad, because I'm going to tell you now what I really think. Let me ask you a question. What if, and I'm not saying this is true, but what if after everything you've been through, all the people you've seen, all the court, all the document, I got the boxes, what if you might just be standing in front of the one guy that can change this? I mean, what if? I'm not saying it's true, but I'm just saying, what if? Because what did I not hear out of either of these tapes? I didn't hear you say, what can I do different to come out with a different outcome? Do you want to win 87 to 42, or do you just want your kids back in your life?
I just want my kids back. I don't care.
Well, then why are you keeping score so much? Why are you guys playing this tit-for-tat game if all you want is a unified family? But You guys can be right fighters, or you can look for a solution. I'm going to give you guys a chance to think about that, and you will or you won't. And then I can help you or I can't. It just depends. So I'm going to let you guys take a minute to talk while I talk to your kids and see what they have to say. I have one objective. That's to reunify this family. That's all I care about.
When I stand up for my mom, my dad gets hostile. He pinned me up against the wall.
He punched me in the throat. It's been exhausting dealing with the turmoil.
Thank you. Nate, what's up? Anna, how are you?
I don't think you have.
Were you guys able to see me talking to your folks?
Yeah.
Yes.
What'd you think about what I had to say to them?
I really appreciate it. I thought what you had to say was accurate and what they needed to hear.
Why?
I just think there's been years of this blame game and not taking a lot of accountability and responsibility for actions and things like that.
You think that's on both sides, mom and dad?
I think on both sides, more so on my dad's side.
Yeah.
My mom's a little more willing to look internally.
And what do you think about what you heard?
I hope that we can resolve this, and I am grateful for you to help us try to resolve this, because this is all we've wanted for the last 7 years. My dad's anger towards my mom consumes his life. When I stand up for my mom, he gets hostile and abusive.
Right now, I have no relationship with my dad. I haven't spoken to him in probably 6 months. My dad has basically excommunicated me from his life.
My father has been very emotionally abusive to me, and one time he even got physically abusive. One night, my sisters were staying with my dad, and my sister Jessica, she was feeling stressed out.
Having been disrespected so many times by everybody, I'm just not going to allow it anymore. So I met her at the door, wouldn't let her in the house.
I shoved past him, and he then pinned me up against the wall by my neck.
So I bundled her up, bear hugged her,
He grabbed me and was throwing me around.
stepped her back off the porch and put her down onto the sidewalk.
He threw me out onto the concrete stairs. The next thing I knew, the police were telling me that I had an abuse and a trespassing charge.
But one time, I disobeyed him, and he ended up kicking me out of the house. As I brushed past him to get out of the door, he punched me in the throat. I got my breath back. I punched him in the chest.
He was punching me in the chest so many times and so hard that it cracked my sternum. According to Libby, I'm beating up my kids, and they're calling me the abuser.
It's been exhausting dealing with the turmoil. If things don't change and he doesn't make an effort to build a relationship with me, I'm willing to move on in my life without him.
This has taken a toll on you, has it not?
Yeah.
And tell me how.
Well, I grew up really close to my dad. And I haven't had a relationship with him for 7 years now. He's missed my wedding. I need my dad, and I love my dad.
Yeah. And why do you think it's deteriorated that way?
Selfishness and anger on my dad's part. And, I mean, yeah, my mom has her part in this as well, but I have tried to take my mom out of the relationship with me and my dad, and anything I do doesn't seem to work.
Well, let me tell you what, people ask me if the problems are as simple as I make them out to be. I don't think problems are simple at all, but I think solutions are often simple.
Yeah.
And I think there are two sides to this. I think your mother is very involved in this. There are two kinds of aggression. There's passive aggressiveness, and then there's just aggressiveness.
Right.
And your mother is passive aggressive. She's driving him nuts, and he falls for it. I mean, she does that, and he goes for it like Jesse went for the train. I mean, he goes for it every time. And so he yells and screams and calls her every name in the book and sends all these messages. It's what I call outrageous overshadowing. His behavior is so outrageous, it overshadows what she does, and she gets a free pass. She didn't get a free pass with me. She's as much a part of this as he is. He just makes more noise.
Right.
He just makes more noise.
What can I do to change?
Libby, I have zero faith that you'll do anything.
You're not answering my question.
You make these kids think something that I'm not.
No, you're telling me
make
what I'm
these
doing.
kids-
Tell me
can
what
you
I
do?
need to do. What do I need to do?
You can stop alienating these kids. You can stop disregarding the court orders.
Let's not bring up the kitchen sink.
Again,
but
of course. See, here's the
let's
dismissal.
stay.
Here comes the dismissal. When we talk about specifics that you don't like, then we dismiss it all and brush it under the rug. So it's just, you know what? I'm just exhausted by it.
Okay, this is where I sent them back to say, figure out how you can work on reunification.
See, but Brian, you won't even
have a
work with me.
specific- Why should I work with you when you don't work with me?
What? Come on. And later, this is not my first rodeo, guys, so don't try to throw one by me because you can't. You either have zero insight or you think I'm really stupid.
Since Libby and I have separated, Libby has placed our kids in harm's way.
It's so crazy of Brian to say that. I'm a good mom.
Libby has a long history in allowing the kids to do what they want, drinking, having boyfriends and girlfriends sleep over.
Brian thinks I'm a danger to our children because I'm permissive, which is not true.
One time, Libby had a friend that would come over. Well, I discovered that this guy was a convicted child molester and fresh out of prison on parole. When I confronted Libby with not wanting this convicted child molester in the home with my daughter, she told me to mind my own business. This is the permanent restraining order that the court granted to me after I requested full custody of Jessica. Libby has made it a practice to hide things from me. I actually had to file a restraining order against Libby because I was so concerned about the safety of Jessica. My daughter made a life-threatening decision. I found out about the cause of that life-threatening decision through DCFS 90 days after the fact. Libby intentionally hid that from me.
It's totally unfair for Brian to throw that at me. I have never put her in danger.
After all that Libby's done, there's zero accountability for her behavior.
That is so ridiculous. I'm tired of it.
You know, I look at her behavior, and she does make it difficult for him to see you guys. She does move you around at school. She doesn't tell him when. She doesn't make it easy for him. And then he does all of this stuff that justifies her 100%. Yeah. He plays right into her hands 100%. They're getting in each other's way. That's why I said, if you guys are going to be doing the same thing you're doing here, I'm not going to waste my time talking to him. I'd rather spend my time talking to you two. And not waste my, because if they're going to come out here and be right fighters, not interested.
Where we are. Look at how our kids have crashed in their lives. And you blame me when I've done nothing but fight like crazy to have these kids in my life, and you've done one thing after the next to twist them against me?
Okay, you know what? I don't want to argue.
Oh, no, see, now you're going to minimize
you're
it
fine.
because now
That's
I can...
fine,
No,
whatever.
no. It's you that's not cooperating. And it's me that's fighting to be with my kids. Yet you twist it all around to the kids that I'm such an ass.
See, but
So,
Brian, you won't even
have a
work with me.
specific, why should I work with you when you don't work with me? And then you get up there and you badmouth me to everybody.
I didn't badmouth you to everybody.
Here's the pattern, once again. You can't be held accountable for whatever you do, but then I'm the bad guy.
He's been physical with you.
Right.
And you. But he's headbutted you, right?
Growing up, yeah.
When does that happen?
It's a good question. I think just arguments. You know, I was a teenager, you know, a rebellious teenager, and just I think I, you know, pressed too many buttons, I guess.
Do you think, either one of you think you're betraying your mother if you have a healthy relationship with your father?
Absolutely not. No. I want a relationship with my father.
Do you think she will resent you if you have a relationship with your father?
No, I think she would be happy for us. If it was healthy.
Well, she hadn't made it easy.
Right.
Are you prepared to tell her you want to have a relationship with him if he behaves himself?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And listen, peace at any price is no peace at all. If you're bullied into a relationship, that's no relationship. I'm not going to ask you to do that. But if he is willing to say, okay, I got to learn some new relationship skills here. I got to back off and let you come to me. I got to let this unfold naturally. You're willing to give him a chance, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Both of them love you very much. They're just so tied up in being right, they don't know how to do it. I'm going to try to shake them out of that today. What would it mean to you to be able to hang out with your dad and then go see your mom and have no problems?
Yeah, that would be just crazy. Like, we haven't been able to experience that since their divorce, even before their divorce. In some way, it does kind of seem like any good interaction you have with the other parent is bad for the other parent.
Yeah, it's at their expense. But it's not.
Right.
That's what they have to understand. Because you love them out of different accounts, don't you? You got a dad account and a mom account.
Right.
And loving dad 100% does not take 1 penny out of the mom account.
Right.
And loving mom 100% doesn't take 1 penny out of the dad account. They don't get that. That's what I want to try to get across to them.
Thank you.
So you guys are leaning into this for me. All right, well, I'm going to go take their temperature.
Good luck.
But I'm going to give it hell. I promise you.
Thank
I'm not
you
going
so
to give
much.
up. I'm going to give it hell.
We need
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, did we catch how they spent their time?
Not very productively.
Let me see.
Brian, this was put back months ago.
This was the signed.
Okay, you know what? I don't want to argue.
Oh no! See, now you're going to minimize it because now
That's
I can.
fine.
No,
Whatever.
no. You minimize it and brush it under the rug, and it's no big deal.
Okay,
and you're
Brian,
abusive.
I am sorry
No,
that
no,
I
no,
did
no.
not pick her up.
No. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. You have a specific order that was signed, and see, this is what you do with the kids. You bring
Okay,
them
this
into
is
all
where
of
I
this
sent
when
them
you have
back to
very
say,
specific orders.
figure out how you can work on reunification.
Yeah, that'd be the,
This is how they spent that time.
that'd be the instructions.
How did we use our time?
He won't be clear on what I need to change.
You were fighting over where you live, children's pickup times, and you fought over the marriage therapist. Tell me how I'm supposed to help you guys. Closed captioning provided by Okay, this is where I sent them back to say, figure out how you can work on reunification.
Yeah, that'd be the,
This is how they spent that time.
that'd be the instructions.
What? Come on.
They're still going at it right
All
now.
right, so
Come on.
you can interrupt them.
All right. All right, I'm going in. I'm going in. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's straight up child abuse.
Okay, how did we use our time?
Arguing.
He won't be clear on what I need to change. I asked him.
I asked you guys to come in and really take a deep breath and say, okay, how are we going to make this useful? How are we going to use this time, of which there's not a lot? How are we going to use this time where it's productive? How far did you get down that road?
Not very far. I don't know what else to do. I don't. You know, frustration was long time ago, way back here. I'm way past that now, and I don't know what else to do.
Well, while you were in here, you were fighting over where you live, a court order concerning the children's pickup times, you accusing her of bad-mouthing you, and all the details, everything about that back and forth. Tell me how that leads to unifying this family. And you fought over the marriage therapist. So tell me how I'm supposed to help you guys.
I honestly don't know. I feel like, and again, you know, I've never claimed to be perfect. I feel like I've done everything I know how to do and sought the help that I know how to find and try to resolve these things. And I do feel like I look internally. I feel like I beat myself up about my imperfections and what I'm trying to figure out how to do this. But I'm to the point now after all these years that I'm just damn frustrated. And yes, I am angry, and I'm hurt. You know, I went from being, in her words, a phenomenal dad to overnight being the family abuser, the pariah. Overnight.
No, it wasn't
From
overnight.
from wrestling, not with you, but with my kids it was. I resent how you have taken even my discipline, even with kids poking me and hitting me in the chest, and me trying to discipline kids to teach them correct principles, how that is twisted into me beating up my children.
Have you sabotaged their relationship with him?
No.
This is not my first rodeo, guys, so don't try to throw one by me because you can't.
I'm not trying to.
Did you block communication with him for 6 months?
Yes.
Closed captioning provided by... What do you want to happen? What do you want to happen long term here?
I want my children to be well-adjusted and healthy mentally, have a relationship with both of their parents and not feel guilty if
Have you
they love
sabotaged?
me.
Have you sabotaged their relationship with him?
No.
You haven't made it difficult for him to have a relationship with them?
No.
Have you changed their schools and not told him about it? Have you made it difficult for him to make phone contact with them?
No.
Have you made it difficult for him to have visitation with them?
No. Not at all.
So you've not withheld information from him across time?
No. I changed
So he's
the
always
school.
known everything that was
I
going on
changed
with
the
his children
school.
as a equal partner in this relationship.
I think so.
Did you block communication with him for 6 months?
Yes.
Okay, so how is that not sabotaging the relationship? How is not moving schools and not telling him not sabotaging
I had
the
a home
relationship?
phone. He could call and talk to me.
Okay, that's not what I asked you. What I asked you is how are those things not sabotaging the relationship with him? How are those things not something? Listen, I'm trained as a forensic psychologist. I have worked as the officer of the court before in analyzing the fitness of a parent and their conduct in supporting the relationship of the other parent's relationship with the child. This is not my first rodeo, guys, so don't try to throw one by me because you can't.
I don't think I'm not
So,
trying to.
well, I'm asking you these questions, and you either have zero insight, both of you have zero insight, or you think I'm really stupid.
No, I don't think you're stupid at
So,
all.
well, then you must have zero insight.
Perhaps.
Do you really think that you have not been obstructionistic in his relationship
Maybe
with these
a
children?
little, but not on purpose. Not
I
on,
don't care
not
whether you
been-
look. If you
okay.
run over my foot, I don't care whether you did it on purpose or you
Okay.
didn't. My foot's still smashed.
Fair enough.
And whether you did it knowingly or not knowingly, the relationship is still sabotaged.
I
Okay,
understand.
he's still there without his children. He's still there feeling that his children are alienated from him.
Okay.
And you can't tell me that moving the children's school and not telling him, blocking for 6 months of contact, does not, when you're on the outside looking in, feel like you're really being sabotaged and alienated.
Okay.
How is that not? I mean, come on, you're a smart lady. You've got to know that that's going to have an impact on him. And you play into her hands every time. You get up, you roar, you yell, you send letters, you bitch, I mean, come on. Seriously? Do you know how long it would take me to impeach you in court to the point that you would be impossible to rehabilitate? About 45 seconds. You play into it so badly. You say, well, I got a 47-page document here talking about this. Yeah, well, put that in the shredder because you overshadow everything she does with your outrageous behavior. You derogate the mother of your children. Come on. And then you show it to them.
Mm-hmm.
What is your objective in showing it to them?
I don't understand what.
Show it to him like what?
These text messages that he sends.
Oh, I show it to him?
You let them read them.
No, I don't. I did the older kids. Yeah.
Do you think that's sabotaging?
Yeah.
And why do you write them?
That's a good question. I know they don't do any good. It's a vent, perhaps. It's.
Do you think that's becoming to you as a father?
No.
Because it's not.
I'm not proud of those things. I'm not. That's not my true character. That's not who I am. There's no but behind that. That's
No,
just
there's not. I mean, those are,
not
look,
right.
we all do stupid
It's just
stuff.
not right.
It seems like a good idea at the time. You know, we do stuff in anger. We do stuff because we think at the time it's justified. Both of you have made serious mistakes, but you're not evil people. But you're doing really sabotaging things, and your kids are paying the price. Your daughter misses her daddy.
It breaks my heart, and it makes me angry. It comes across like I've abandoned my family.
Stop being a victim and hear what I'm saying. What would you say if I told you that your daughter aches for her relationship with her daddy? She aches for her relationship with her daddy.
I have a lot of feeling about that. I'm confused about that because she hasn't reached out to me, and she's. I think that she's very confused, like I am, like all these children are, about why we don't have a relationship.
How do you feel about the fact that she tells me that it tears her up inside and she misses her daddy?
It breaks my heart. And it makes me angry, honestly. It breaks my heart because I don't feel justified in what's happening here, that it's justified, and I don't know what else to do about it. And it's confusing again, like I said, because I'm grateful she has written in, because I've been erased by her for a long time, and I've reached out and reached out and reached out, and ignored for the most part.
And you have no ownership in that.
I don't know what to own. I honestly don't. Maybe I have zero insight in that because
if I show you what you have to own, will you own it?
Absolutely.
And if I show you what to own and you own it, will you change it?
That's why I'm here.
Because she wants you in her life.
As I want her. I want all of them.
And your son wants you in his life.
But see, it comes across like I've abandoned my family. And
Well, stop being a victim and hear what I'm saying. Does it matter to you that they want you? And you're saying she's alienated your children from you, and they're telling me that's not true. They're telling me that, yes, both of you have ownership in the breakdown of this family, but they're both telling me they want a relationship with their dad. They both want you. It hasn't gone too far.
And here's a dad that's had an open door from the day they were born, and who I've never pushed them away from me. I've done everything to counteract all of this that I know how to do.
Well, if you want to know what to change, you want me to show you some things to change?
Yes, I do.
Well, all right, then let's go out and do. I'm willing to take that step. I'm willing to take that step. I'm going to show you after the break because I think you really want to know, and I think you really want to know. You guys are not bad people, but you're making bad choices. And the good thing about decisions is they have a beginning and an end. You can stop making bad decisions right now today. You can stop making bad decisions right now today, even though I put you in here and you wasted this time doing what you did before you got here. You could have spent this time saying, hey, why don't we do something different? But you didn't do that. You did what you did every day before you got here. Let's take a second chance. Let's go out there and do something different. And that means you got to not be a victim. Be a victor here. Decide, you know what? I came here today, one set of circumstances. I'm going to leave here today with a relationship with my children. Is there anything else you want?
No.
Of course not. You don't need to be right. You don't need to win.
Mm-mm.
All right. Let's go out and do this. We'll be there. All right. We're coming. I asked those two kids if they wanted a relationship with you to be standing on the other side of that door, and you're going to get a clear answer whether you've been erased or whether you haven't. So open the door. Closed captioning provided by... We're out of time today, but here's a sneak peek at tomorrow's shocking conclusion. Trust me, you do not want to miss that. Can Brian and Libby finally put their animosity towards each other aside for the sake of their children? Plus, Brian sits down with two of his oldest children for an emotional reunion. Can they, will they forgive their father? Well, you're going to find out tomorrow. I want to thank all of my guests today. If you have questions for me, please go to drphil.com. And don't forget, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe to my new podcast called Fill in the Blanks. That's PHIL in the blanks, and it's free. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.